Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Ruxandra. I'm trying to find out why this doesn't work. Okay, cool. So I hope you all had a very interesting day with interesting talks, and I'm very happy to have you here with me. I have a story to tell. This story is not about dragons and myths and dungeons. This story is about cars and how we drove one on the road to success. Before we start, let me tell you a few words about myself and about Gameloft, the company that I work for. I have been in the game industry for around 10 years, and I have been a game producer at Gameloft Cluj in Romania for around 4 years. The company has established itself as one of the top innovators in this industry since year 2000. We now have around 20 studios across the world, and among these, we have one here in Bucharest and one in Cluj-Napoca. Let me tell you about this game. If you can play the video for me, I'll be talking about this game today. If it works. I can hear it working, but it's not. Can we fix it, or should I just move on? Okay. Okay, so meanwhile, until we fix this problem, I have been a producer for 4 years, as I mentioned earlier, and I worked on 2 big projects created in our studio back in Cluj-Napoca. One is called Iron Blade Medieval Legends. It's a very actiony RPG medieval style game, which is very cool. If you have the time, try it out. Oh, cool. And this one, Nintendo Switch, Asphalt 9. Cool. So Asphalt is the biggest IP Gameloft created over the years. If it works, okay. Sneak peek. Many years, so the first game in the series, Asphalt Urban GT, was released in 2004 on Nintendo DS, on Engage service from Nokia, and on Java Micro Edition. More years pass, more Asphalt games are released, gathering in time millions and millions of downloads, and going through a big list of platforms like Symbian, BlackBerry OS, Windows, Nintendo 3DS, PS Vita, Android, iOS, and finally in 2019 we go on Nintendo Switch with Asphalt 9 Legends. For this presentation, I wanted to show you a very simple structure so that you can get an idea how many studios from the world, from Gameloft, how many teams and how many people worked on fortifying this brand over here. And this is what came up. It's really mind-blowing how many people worked on creating this brand. For the Asphalt 9 Legends, the production structure looks a bit more simpler. You can see here the Barcelona studio, the creative core of this game, Paris studio, where our HQ stakeholders are, Kharkov studio, working on the Alibaba version of the game, Bucharest studio, Montreal studio, Mexico studio, where we get help and support with servers, sound, legal, and submission requirements. And of course, last but not least, Cluj-Napoca studio, where the Asphalt 9 for Nintendo Switch was actually developed. So how did everything started? We had a vision let's create a console experience with one of the brands Gameloft did over the years, and let's use the most famous brand from Gameloft, which is, of course, Asphalt. Asphalt 9 Legends on mobile was in development at that time in Barcelona studio. And by following closely, so the mobile version was there in development, and following closely how the game unraveled, it looked and felt very promising. So why Nintendo Switch? We researched a lot, and what we found was that the Nintendo Switch market had a lot of potential. There were no free arcade racing games with high quality graphics, and we had basically no direct competitors. Our team also had some experience in the past with other consoles, like the Asphalt Injection on PS Vita. Great, let's do Asphalt 9 on Nintendo Switch. How do we do this? Providing the exact same experience as on mobile for the Nintendo Switch version didn't feel enough. Based on our research, console players are different than mobile players in different ways. So the first thing that we agreed upon was to add manual drive mode to the list of controls. Console players like to be in control of their cars. Okay, do we make it a premium game or a free-to-play game? We took the decision after we analyzed what could work best based on the company's portfolio and how we as a team could contribute with the Nintendo Switch version to extend this portfolio to a bigger market. At this point, the decision was easy, the model free-to-play. So let's provide a free arcade racing game experience with manual drive mode and high-quality graphics for the Nintendo Switch players. And so we started to pitch our game to Nintendo. Our representatives planned meetings with Nintendo, documents and assets were prepared, and things were going very smooth. Last year, exactly in this conference, I was able to meet one of the most helpful Nintendo representatives and show a very first version of the prototype on a Nintendo dev kit. We received a lot of feedback from Nintendo, and the most important points were: you need an offline mode. It seems that Nintendo Switch players do travel a lot. You need a local multiplayer split screen feature. Nintendo Switch players do have a lot of friends coming over for parties. So what were our key takeaways? There is never too much research. We learned that those points were really core features for Nintendo Switch players, so we created a new plan. The Asphalt 9 for Switch will have an offline mode so that the game can be played anywhere, anytime, and it will have a couch multiplayer split screen feature that can be played with friends and family. We knew what we wanted to do. It was time to build a team and start working on it. So here is where we started. So in summer 2018, 2 developers researching Nintendo technical documentation. We started adding people to the team. We added a designer, a producer, and 1 more programmer. Later on, we added an online developer to help us with the offline mode, because that's how we do things. And so we continued to add more people based on the needs, and we managed to get close to having a really polished version in the spring of 2019 with a team of 12. This is the point where we started to test our game directly with Nintendo. Nintendo has this service called a pre-check, which basically helps you understand all of their requirements by testing builds directly with them, so that on the final submission, which is called lot check, you should be able to address all the problems with your game in advance. We got even more familiar with the list of gadgets and controllers that are available on Nintendo Switch, and we took advantage of them, providing support so that Switch players can play the game in any way they want, by using a single Joy-Con, by using a Pro controller, by using a Nintendo Wheel, or any other game modes that they like and use. Now, this is the initial estimation for when we thought we would launch the game, end of June 2019. This is the date when we actually launched, 8th of October 2019. So you see, things don't always go as planned. These months translated for us into a list of achievements that in the end translated into actually launching the game on Nintendo Switch around 1 month ago. During development, we received a lot of support from Nintendo on different channels and even on their official forums. Requirements were clarified, assets were prepared, and we started to build even more confidence. So what were our key takeaways? There are never too many pre-checks before actually submitting for the final certification. You should never be afraid to ask many questions until everything is clarified. Don't count on your experience on releasing games on mobiles. Consoles are different from all points of view. And make the Nintendo Forum your best friend. You will get so much support from the community, and you will never feel alone in your adventure. Now, let's talk a bit about marketing. Okay. So, what was the goal that we set for our marketing campaign? Our primary goal was to get as many downloads as possible. And to do that, we activated all three pillars of promoting a game, which is advertising, PR, and of course, marketing. This is the time when we learned about this great feature from Nintendo called pre-download, where you can market your game directly on the Nintendo Store for a certain period of time before release. The game gets to be downloaded in advance on the device, the users get a notification when the game is live, and they can just play the game. What we did during the pre-download was to also provide players with a paid option, a bundle, that would give those who would purchase a head start in the game by giving them some awesome cards and some extra currency. We continue to work on building a strong relationship with Nintendo by closely following their guidelines and basically approving with them in advance all of the special marketing activation plans. One of the most important things when it comes to communities is to start building a relationship with the players before you actually release the game. For us, we had a representative always in touch with our players on the Discord channel or any other social media that are relevant for our game. Discord was very important from the start. Our community manager built a very strong fan group from where we get real-time feedback or where we learn about issues with our game. It also helped us to create a very strong bond between our team and our fans. Our main designer is constantly interacting with the players, listening to their suggestions and their feedback. So how do you select the right channels for communication? In our case, we once again researched the Nintendo Switch market, and we found out that the primary channels for getting updates for Nintendo Switch players is YouTube, closely followed by Facebook. We targeted several influencers from YouTube, and we had a very good result out of this type of promotion. For example, for us, it actually revived Asphalt console community. Players who loved the game on Nintendo 3D and Nintendo DS stopped playing years ago, but now they have a very good reason to come back. YouTube also allowed us to have a very good exposure on the internet and to receive a transparent and unbiased opinion about our game. When selecting the right channels for your game, always keep in mind to research what works best for your type of game, for the platform that you target, and where the fans are active. After the game went live, the website created helped us in giving us a bump in search engines. We mostly use it for delivering news about the game, what is coming, and of course offering special assets, official assets that can be used by the players or media outlets to create their own content. The game got exposure at E3, Gamescom, Milan's Game Week, and many other events. We focused on building a strong relationship with different media outlets that helped us in spreading the news about the game through press releases or blog posts. Some other means that can add value to the game can be, for example, like we did, creating a special Asphalt 9 themed case and skin for the Nintendo Switch devices, which we use to increase our fan base on social media channels. Our marketing team had this really great idea of creating a custom car skin for the Nintendo, with the Nintendo official colors, so that players can use inside the game. So what were our key takeaways? Well, pre-downloads are a very good way to start building your player base. Participate in events so that you can get as much exposure as you can. Media outlets are very helpful in spreading the news about the game. Start planning the marketing campaign when you start working on the game. Don't wait for a finished product to start this game changer task. So let's talk a bit about the big day. Finally, on 8th of October, we go live. Now, let me tell you something. When you make a game, There are many situations during development where you have fun with the team, where you bond with them, where you fix things together. But nothing really compares with the day when you release the game into the world and players get their hands on it and start playing it and start having fun. And watching how the numbers grow, it really gives you a good feeling of accomplishment. We got a lot of media coverage after release. Nintendo Soup had 2 articles about us, Nintendo Everything, Hardcore Gamer, IGN Pocket Gamer, and Nintendo Live had a very, very good review of our game. Keeping a strong relationship with Nintendo, doing a lot of pitching, and creating in-game assets like the ones that I've showed you before, the car scheme, for example, helped us in getting Nintendo to like us and our game. So we got a lot of featuring from them from day one. We got our spot in the recent release section from the eShop. We got featured in the What's New section, and got highlights video on Nintendo Facebook and Instagram channels. More recently, we received featuring in the Nintendo October Highlights YouTube official video, as well as on Twitter and Instagram. So, what were our key takeaways after release? That we can continue to improve, and that's great. Players are enjoying the game, and they want more, and we are ready to offer more. That you should never ignore negative reviews, but instead learn from them and work on getting better, nor get depressed when reading words such as shallow, inferior game built with the exclusive purpose of getting suckers to throw more money at it. It's not healthy. We need to keep our optimism up. So expect the unexpected. I'm sure that everyone has heard of the superstition of the 3 bad times hours on a Tuesday. Well, we have a similar one in our team. There will always be 3 problems after the moment that you think everything is wrapped up and finished. So what is the worst problem that you can encounter after you release your game? Well, to not have a game anymore. So for us, the most unexpected problem, after around 2 weeks of being live, one morning, our game suddenly disappeared from the eShop. After a surprise recheck from the age rating boards, Nintendo decided to take us down until we solved the problem. So there we were, not having a game anymore on the Nintendo Europe eStore. With a bit of luck and with a lot of support from Nintendo, 2 days later the game was up and running again. We also learned that no matter what you do, you must embrace problems. We tend to avoid problems. They stress us out. They stop us from achieving the goals that we set. Now, let me tell you something. If you can rewire your brain into embracing problems instead of avoiding them, then here are the gains. You will never get bored. There is always something to do on the list. Problems connect people. There are so many amazing people that I have met trying to solve a problem, and I don't know if I would have met them otherwise. Problems are challenges, mini achievements that can help you learn and evolve. And satisfaction. It feels so good when you have finally sorted out the problem. It gives you boost and energy to move to the next one. Was it worth it? Well, everything we did helped us reach 1 million downloads in the first week after launch. So I must say, it was definitely worth it. More positive reactions came for our players. Heads off, Gameloft Asphalt. The new Asphalt game is amazing. The full control part and the 4 players race feel amazing. We expect from the future to throw at us more negative reviews related to the fact that our game is a free-to-play game with a monetization layer. But in fact, the community that we managed to build is really engaged with the game. Like this player that created a great blog post to appreciate the fact that our game is free-to-play, saying, and let me quote him on that because this is just awesome, "Arcade racers do not sell. Trying to release one now would be suicide. It's been proven time and time again. The genius of making the game free-to-play has broken it free of this cycle." He also said that he loves the game, that he got hooked, and that he appreciates the fact that because it is a free game, it never ends. There is always something interesting and new to do or to try out. The community is growing bigger and bigger, and we already started to work on our live operations plans. So stay tuned, there is more to come. I will wrap this up, not with a cat picture, because I had one earlier, but with our asphalt motto: good players win races, legends change the game. So this is my advice for you to pop into your memory bank. Be brave, go ahead and change the game. Thank you all for being here.